It's time now to share the work that you have performed alone and move it to a shared DBMS repository. So people will be able to collaborate with you on the modeling work. To create your DBMS model repository, you can look on Google for Sparks Create a SQL Server repository. You get to such a page and you read the documentation, and most importantly you download the script needed for creating the database schema. Then you go to Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio to create your Labnaf repository, your SQL Server Labnaf repository. You upload the scripts and you execute them one after the other. You can now transfer your local repository into a DBMS repository. To do this, you need to first show all ribbons so that you can have access to the configure ribbon, which itself provides you access to the transfer option and be able to project transfer from a file to a DBMS. So you can now look up for your repository that is there. You can also now transfer it to a SQL Server repository that you just created. You enter the connection string and you select the repository that you want to transfer to. We created this one. You enter a log file name and then you start your transfer. Now that our startup repository is transferred to a DBMS, we can now open this DBMS repository. So open project, connect to server, SQL Server, and we select the repository on the SQL Server database, and here we go. The DBMS repository is now open. What we can now do is to create a shortcut to this DBMS repository. We call it shared repository. Okay, fine. We tell it to open this diagram by default. Now you can close this DBMS repository. You can see now that there is on your desktop a shared repository file, which is just a connection string to a database. It's not really a database, it's just a connection string to the database. And you can share this link, this file, to anyone you want, and they will just double click on the file to open the repository that you are sharing with them. The next thing to do is to enable security so that you can lock elements, packages, diagrams for yourself, for a group, whatever. You need to enter an authorization key that you received with your license from Sparks. If you want to enable single sign-on, what you do is that you create an Active Directory group that you populate with your Sparks Labnaf users. Once your Active Directory group is created, you can create a group in the Sparks database repository, and you can link it to the Active Directory group that you have created. And the result is that you will have single sign-on.